Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tony. It's Tony's Tractor Adventure. Got the Gizmo dog running around and Tanya behind the camera. And today we are going to continue on with our cabin build, but in a different kind of way. We're looking to put our own well in, and it's going to be difficult because of where the water is at down the hill. So we started a couple of days ago with the new mulcher. We have this new 30-inch mulcher by Baumalight. And what it's allowed us to do is to get into the little tight spaces. And this is a true mulcher. It'll do a 6-inch tree, no problem. So it's really gonna allow me to get into places with this smaller tractor that I just couldn't get in with my bigger tractor. And we went ahead and started a trail coming down through here on this hill. And I'm gonna take the tractor and go back around and get on this trail and see if I can start clearing this area open so that we can work our way around and actually clear out a space at the bottom of the hill where we can put a real well, and then it's going to run off solar. I'm excited about it. It's the next step. We got to have some water here.
So we used this mulcher a couple of videos back where we started this trail going down. This is a prototype 30-inch mulcher, so we're testing this for Baumalight, seeing if there's any weaknesses, and then we're going to report back to them and so on and so forth. However, we're just picking up where we left off, where we started going down this trail, and this is a very steep hill, and this is the first time that we've ever been down here. And you can see Tanya is up on the hillside, shooting through the camera or through the woods because there's really no way for her to get back here and get any video shots. Luckily, the leaves are off.
One of the adjustment nuts backed off a little bit. Huh? Well, I see you too. So I'm going to come through here and try to knock some of this down a little bit, just for looks. Just be careful, okay? I just want to say, I've got a lot of hours on the tractor, and after you get as many hours on a tractor as I have, you learn a lot about what the tractor feels like, basically through your butt. And what I'm saying is, this is very steep, and if you're new to doing the tractors, just ease into stuff like this. This is not something I would recommend a first-time tractor owner do. And reality is, I am accepting a certain amount of risk doing this, and you have to come to the understanding that you're either gonna, you're gonna have some risk in everything we do. Just driving down the road, there's some risk. But things you need to think about is you got to look up, make sure that all the trees around you, like right now, none of the trees around me, if they fell out, like a little piece of limb fell out, it wouldn't even scratch me. I'm constantly thinking about stuff like that. So years ago, I was in the woods and I was pushing some brush down, just not paying attention. And I pushed in, I bumped a tree, and I was trying to knock it over, and I didn't realize how dead it was, and I kept just pushing at it. So I backed up and I just bumped it a little harder just to try to knock it over because I knew it was dead, and the top fell out of the tree and hit the front hood of the tractor and the loader. Well, that could have just as easily been in my head. And I want to stop and, you see me doing this, it's fun and it's absolutely a blast. I'm having a blast, but I want you to understand that there is a seriousness to this. And, you can hurt yourself if you're not thinking. So keep your head on the swivel and move slow and deliberate, and it'll be okay. So this was that ironwood tree right here, and it had like, I don't know, 6 or 8, you know, stems coming up and then a big root system. It took me a while to chew that up, but how much cooler is it now? I don't have to deal with it. It's just gone. And don't forget, when you stay with me to the end of the video, I'm going to pop the side of this thing off and explain to you why this is better than a flail mower for this kind of stuff for long term. Kind of a lot of people make comments that, hey, a flail mower, I can do the same thing with a flail mower, and you can to a degree. Just, you're going to tear your flail mower up. This is meant to do this every day, and when we get through with this video, I'm going to open the side of it up and show you why that you can continue to do this. Where a flail mower, you've just got a series of small belts, and they'll just burn up continuously if you try to do this over and over. Not to mention the amount of hammers you're going to break off getting into like this ironwood stuff. It's just going to break the hammers off continuously. That stuff is hard. The carbide cutters, they just hang in there and keep on going. All right, Gizmo Puppy, I'm going to start this thing. You hate it, so. So that'll open this up quite a bit. This old ironwood stuff is tough now. I can't remember what the actual name of it. We've always just called it ironwood, because every now and then we have a real high iron content in our soil here, and then when you're sometimes cutting this with a chainsaw, you can literally see sparks coming off of it, where deposits of iron have been in the wood, or so I've been told. Could have been just a nail. So we're getting close to where we have to be careful. Yeah, we're getting close to the point where I'm going to get, I got to be careful because I'm afraid I'm going to back off into a spring. We're getting down to that level. Before, with the big tractor, I backed off into a spring, and it took me and Tanya a better part of a day and a half to get the tractor out because we were way at the bottom. Okay, so where springs are at, what I've learned here is if you see big, large trees, then there's not any springs around. When you come down the bottom of this hill, and as the opening of the sky kind of opens up and the trees get real small, what's going on is the trees will start growing, and as soon as they get any size at all, they don't have enough root system because it's wet, and they'll fall over and die. So anytime where I can tell where the spring's at, just is like keep going towards the small trees that have fell over and over again, and we'll know there's a spring close by. And that's where we're gonna come up the hill and put our well in. And right now the cabin, I don't know if can you swing around and see the cabin there? Is it possible? That's how far we are away from the cabin right now. So we are literally probably less than 20 feet from the water table here of fresh spring water, because all of the water goes up hundreds of feet that way, and that's an aquifer in our county, and it all leaks out here. So we have the end of the water, and so far we've owned this property about 8 years, and we've never once seen the springs go dry. The driest part of the driest of the driest, and the springs still run. Hey, those guys really suck if they're deer hunting. That's like 12 shots. I'd say they're running through the woods chasing a deer, trying to just take pop shots at it. Don't shoot a deer unless you know you can drop it in its place. There's some guys over here that have been really, really quiet. I think they're deer hunting, and we've heard, I don't know, 5 or 7 shots already. So, and it sounds like they're in different locations. It's kind of like they're running through the woods shooting at deer. So obviously they're not good deer hunters. Gizmo don't like it either. If you can't tell, I hate holly trees, bushes, whatever they are. They poke you. I don't like them. So it's about 15 minutes to 4, so that means we have about 45 more minutes of light, maybe an hour of some light. And we found a place that we can actually cross over and go back up the other side, which is pretty awesome. But right here is a spring, and there's a tube that runs up onto the ground. We start seeing this white sand right here, it'll let you know that there's actually a spring around, because that means all of the water has went through that so much that it's washed the iron content out. We have a very high iron content. So if you just run into sand around here, it's generally going to be red unless it's a tube where water's come out. So that's a good indication that this is a spring right here. Not to mention that there's water in the ditch down here. So, and then here is...
If you go right beside it into the tree, so that you can go make it right through it if you go right beside it.
Yeah, absolutely, eventually. But right now, all I'm worried about is where to put the...
It's pretty muddy over here.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, this is actually a spring. So I don't know if you can get the camera around here. I didn't realize I was getting... I was so focused back here, like trying to chew these trees down, that I didn't realize that I was actually in the spring right here and the tractor was getting stuck. And then I just kind of turned around and glanced. Are you peeing right here? What's wrong with you? You're peeing in the water. So right here, we are literally in a spring. There's water leaking out of the ground right here. And you can see a tunnel up here. So we are, gosh, maybe, I say we're probably 60 feet down. So easily we're going to be able to get water if we come in here and like dig a well right here. There's obviously water here already. So we can dig down 8 or 10 foot, put a culvert in, or even dig like a trench going down into it, and then keep going deeper and deeper and deeper, and then bringing the dirt out. And then I'm sure we're going to hit sand pretty quick right here, and then put a well head here. We have to focus the water away from this and keep the downhill water from coming, so it doesn't contaminate it. But I think probably the best thing to do is just go right up here and dig a flat spot and drive a well. I mean, I don't think there's water coming out everywhere. If you look right down here, can you see that? Can you focus down there and see the water running? Can you see it? Okay. I might be in the way. See. Let me get this out of the way. Right now. So if you look right down through there, that's water that runs. There's a spring right here. There's a spring right there. So there's multiple springs in this area. There's a spring to my, yeah, I'm sorry. So there's a spring to my right over here. And then there's a spring right here. There's another spring right over there coming out. So I'm pretty sure that no matter where we drill a well here, that it's going to be okay. And we're probably going to do like a hand drilled well. Just see, I just want to do it so that I know that I can. Obviously we'll have a permanent well at the top of the hill, but I just want to put a well that we know that we can control. Even with a pump handle if we had to. That's a hill. Can you see that? I don't know if you can spin it around and for people to understand how steep that is. That is steep. We're definitely gonna have to put some railroad ties or something down through there, or some wood steps in the ground. I don't want railroad ties. They got creosote in it and that'll contaminate the water. All right, we get to the top of the hill. I'm gonna pop the side of this off so you can see the belt system. I had so many people in the comments that commented on this last time. It's like, well, I can do the same thing with my flail mower. And you just can't. You can get away with a flail mower for a little while, but it's just not gonna hold up to what this will hold up continuously. This is made to do what we've been doing with it day in and day out. Whereas your flail mower is gonna have like 3 to 5 V-belts and cast iron teeth, where this has got carbide cutters. They'll have cast iron hammers, and those hammers will not hold up to, like this ironwood we've been in, that ironwood break those pretty quickly and probably burn the belts up pretty quickly. So we get to the top of the hill. I'll show you the inside of this and tell you why, or show you why this is so much better than a flail mower for this type stuff. So I get a lot of comments, and those comments are, you know, hey, I can do the same thing you can do with this mulcher I can do it with a flail mower, or I can do it with my rotary cutter. And it's just not true, and you just shouldn't do it, first off. Now I have run over some pretty good stuff. Like I don't mind running over some small saplings that are, you know, 1 inch in diameter. And even though some of my flail mowers are rated at 3 inches, I don't want to like go to that rating all the time, because it's just not meant to do that. So let me explain how a flail mower works. PTO shaft comes in. You generally have a slip clutch or a shear pin in some cases before you get to a gearbox. The gearbox comes over and redirects the power down to a set of belts, and these belts will generally be like your small flail mowers. They'll have 3 belts. Maybe your larger flail mowers may have 6 belts, you know, 5 to 6 belts, depending on how many, you know, how big the flail mower is. Now, just mowing, you're not slipping the belts. But when you start getting into 1 and 2 inch saplings over and over, you know, you just clip one in the field, it's not going to bother it. It doesn't have time to overheat it. However, if you're just like continuously running over 1, 2 inch saplings, it's constantly slipping the belt just a little bit, and then it overheats the belts. They stretch, they melt, and then they're ruined. And on top of that, they have, you know, even if you have like grass cutters, it's just like a Y or a TY type cutter. Those are going to do great in grass, but they're not really that great in mulcher unless you have some of the really heavy duty ones. And then the most common one is a hammer. Now those hammers are pretty robust. However, if you keep hammering the hammers into 1 and 2 inch saplings over and over again, you're going to shear those pretty often. And that's okay, but that gets pretty costly over a period of time. And again, you're beating the crap out of your flail mower. It's made to mow grass. It's made to mow high grass. Now your rotary cutter is even less robust, because you have a drive shaft comes, you know, PTO drive shaft comes up to a slip clutch or a shear pin. So there's really not that much protection. So if you hit something, it causes your rotary cutter to come to a dead stop instantaneously. That shock goes all the way through to your powertrain. I don't have to worry about that with this system, and that's what I wanted to get to there. Now we're to the point now. This uses a big giant Kevlar belt, and it has a spring system in it that will let it slip if it needs to. I've actually slipped the bigger one a couple of times. When I hit a stump and it slips, but this belt has a little bit of give to it, and in addition to that, you have a slip clutch in here. This is why this is going to hold up where your flow mower is just not going to hold up. We've had the bigger mulcher going on 3 years now, and only time I've ever broken a tooth off of it is I backed into a big 1-inch cable off of a skidder. Apparently somebody broke a cable and they just threw it on the ground and left it. You know, lucky me, I backed into it and it wrapped up around and broke some teeth off. But it was very, you know, I just put the teeth back on it. It was good to go. However, this right here is made a lot more robust than any flow mower. And then on top of that, you're gonna have carbide cutting teeth. These carbide cutters are going to hold up to the beating and abuse of backing into 6-inch trees over and over again. So we've cut some tulip poplar, we've cut some, I cut some oak, we cut that ironwood. That ironwood is ridiculous tough. So this thing is held up very well, and you just can't do this with a flail mower. I'm sorry, our rotary cutter, it's not gonna hold up to it. If you're gonna do a little bit of it, perfectly fine. If you're gonna do what we're doing, it's not gonna hold up. Listen, I hope this video was informative, and if it was, please leave me a like and please subscribe. God bless, have a great day.